Joe likes Scorsese, and Raanan is Jewy. It's Joe and Raanan talk movies.
Action!
We're back.
We're back.
What did I say? I don't even remember.
You remembered how to fuck it up perfectly.
This is like a TV show reunion. We're all old now.
You don't say anything.
It's like Friends reunion.
You don't say anything. I say action. By the way, it's hot as tits in
I
here.
feel like a 60-year-old David Schwimmer right now.
I hate Schwimmer. I can't
Really?
stand Schwimmer.
You
What
know,
do you mean, really?
My buddy
you like
friends
him?
with him, McGee.
This is why I don't want to do the podcast. This is why I quit. This is why I quit the
Immediately we're in
podcast. I like Schwimmer. He's very nice.
He actually says he's a really nice guy.
I'm sure he's nice. Schwimmer, though.
Of course he's nice. People without talent are some of the nicest people.
But his characters, I couldn't stand him on Curb. You know what he is?
I thought he was good on Curb.
No, he was terrible. Stiller was so good and so fun, and then Schwimmer comes in. You know what he is? I think he's playing this. I'm sure he's not this in real life. He, to me, and I'm going to sound like DePaulo, who I love, and I'm fine with sounding like him. He, to me, is the epitome of, like, the evolution in show business of what like the man has become. He's like, ooh, I'm stupid. I like dinosaurs, and I get a little weepy, and I can't fight, and I'm just. What?
He's the beginning of the pussification of man.
He's the pussification of man.
Interesting.
He's
OG
the culmination.
in a way.
Yeah,
The OG in a way.
Yeah, he's the true, and like he really is like just a whiny like. You
know what I found interesting on that show? He's Jewish on the show.
Yeah,
and he seems Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
But he's dating his sister is Courtney Cox, and she doesn't seem that Jewish.
No, not at all.
Almost
she's
like,
hot. She's appealing.
Yeah,
she's nice. She's likable.
It's almost like he's Jewish, but his sister isn't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then their dad just happens to be like Elliot Gould or whoever.
That's a good point.
You know, because he feels very Jewy. He's into like monkeys and. He's like, doofus, you know what I mean?
Jews love monkeys. That's one thing about Jews. Are you offended? Because we're going to talk about Goodfellas a little bit. Are you offended by the portrayal of the Jews between Maury and then Karen's parents? Because some people are in Goodfellas. Yeah, it's not exactly a resounding.
I mean, my mom is a walking Jewish stereotype. It's completely true.
Right.
Like Jews can be caricatures, you know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, you're Maury. I was watching. I was like, Raanan is Maury. You're like, hey boys, what's going on? Yeah, you come in, we're having a nice time, and then you're like, hey, what's up, guys? And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, it's like that South Park joke where like they're mad about Mel Gibson, and then you see one of the Jews in the episode going, "He's turning us into stereotypes." Yeah, I mean, no, I think it's I don't. First of all, she doesn't feel that Jewish.
Karen?
Yeah.
Well, she feels very Italian. That performance, I want to talk about this a little bit. I watched Goodfellas for the 800th time. We talked about it before. I don't think there's.
New ground.
I think it is.
Talking Goodfellas.
I do think it is the best film ever made, and I think there's never been better performances across the board. He got the best performances of a lifetime, other than De Niro, just because the part is not that great. He's perfect, but just Raging Bull is a better performance. But every performance, and I tweeted about it. Johnny Roast Beef is amazing, getting yelled at. Bracco, when you watch her when she's walking the helicopter May 11th scene, the way her posture is, and she's lighting her cigarette, and she's just incredible. Everybody's so fucking incredible.
And the laziest hit of all time. Over there. Just go over there. Just move. Now,
I believe she wasn't going to get hit, and she just got paranoid.
Probably. Yeah. It's one of those things in a movie where you never know. It's like the Insider where he thinks people are following him. You don't really fully know, right?
You don't really know, but here's my evidence. Is like, so the mob was just unable to kill Karen.
Well, we fucked it up. I guess we'll never try again.
I mean, I just feel like if they wanted to kill her, they would have killed her.
That's a good point. He probably they're not like, well, she didn't go to the alley where I had the hitman, so I guess she gets away now. You know how the code of mobs. We got one attempt.
Yeah.
If they fail that, they're scot-free.
The theory is Jimmy Conway was unable to hit Karen.
But then why is he being so? Is he really so? So that's kind of funny to look at the scene that way. He's just trying to give her clothes.
Yeah, but he's all fucked up at that point too. They're coming apart.
Come on.
No. And did you know Giannis Pappas and Jesse Scatora, I forgot how to say his name, Scatora, their studio, you probably don't know this, was on that block. You don't even know who these people are.
I don't even know. Yeah.
But, it was in that same block, Smith and 9th. So I got all kinds of photos.
It's funny to say something famous and then be like, he's less famous. You know what also happened there? Someone not famous.
Well, I thought you might know him. He's a fellow.
You know, the place where they filmed Jaws, a mailman once walked there that I know.
Anyways.
But, well, let's talk a little about the, before we go to what we were calling this one. We're back, by the way. I don't know if you've realized.
For now.
We've done, you've sent the suicide notes, you've sent the letters. And finally, we were like, we'll make the big sacrifice. I will walk downstairs.
And talk about movies for a half an hour. Well, I do have to say, it is the most required. I had a guy, I was in Columbus, Ohio. I mean, there was a man, literally, broken to pieces. His wife had left him.
Yeah,
he was skinny. I could see his ribs.
Gun in their mouth, yeah.
And he was like... He's like, should I give up hope? Is it ever coming back? And really, it broke me. I was like, I'm
feel
sorry.
horrible. Well, no, I'll get messages where like, are you like? I had a message recently that said, "Are you ever gonna do? Can you do another Joe and Raanan?" And then it just said under it, "Please." Like it was the most fragile. Like, please.
Well, then we'll release this, and everyone will be like, "You fat fuck, fucking skinny asshole, cunt, piece of shit."
Well, the problem is there's just not enough. I'm glad people are suicidal about the podcast. There's just not enough of you being suicidal. It's like
Right.
300 people about to commit suicide.
Right.
We need that number to go up to 20,000.
I have this all the time in my career where, like, everyone will be like, you gotta come to San Francisco, baby. When are you coming to SF? And I realized, to me, I'm like, they need me there.
Yeah.
But it's literally like 38 people, which is a lot of messages.
Yeah, it's a lot of messages.
But then you advertise the show and you sell 38 tickets.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh.
they're sad people who are begging a comedian to come, so it's not.
And 7 of them are out of town that weekend.
And by the way, we're not doing the podcast because we want to upset people. We get in trouble. We talk shit. We talk shit. I met Tarantino. He's like, oh, you talk about me on the podcast. And now I'm like, I'll never be in a Tarantino movie. I talk shit about him the whole time. I'm just like, he sucks, you know?
It's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, I already trashed David Schwimmer, and I'm one person removed from him. He's fantastic at performing the character I hate.
I want to walk back. And he'll be like, no, it's okay. You know, at first I was upset. That's how we talk.
Well, we talked about
First
Simon.
I was upset, but then you said, what?
Simon Rex we talked about, he listened.
All right, he got mad. He tweeted something kind of negative.
No, he didn't.
Well, he said, yeah, I did. I was joking.
He didn't tweet. He messaged to me. He messaged me personally, which is worse, and said, I'll let the director know you thought his movie was too long. But we did talk about how great his performance was,
we
fortunately.
had an actor say, I'll let one of the best working filmmakers right now know that we talk shit about him. You know?
And then we're making stuff, and I put it out, and it's like, 11 people watch it, and they're like, this is a piece of shit, you pretentious asshole. And I'm like, Casino sucks, or whatever. I love Casino, you know what I mean?
Well, it was interesting. I finally made a movie, a short film.
Yeah, you can call it
starring Joe.
Yeah.
So we did it. We went from critic. It's probably the first time like Roger Ebert never directed a movie starring Gene Siskel. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
That's like the first time two film critics is what we're known for,
That's not what we're known for. What are you talking about? We're not known for that. We're not critics. I don't want to be a critic. I already regret doing this. I want to only talk about films that I love. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Then that happened 58 years ago. But also, and also I'm currently making a feature documentary film about my friend Tom Dustin. It's coming together. This thing is going to be a cult classic. I guarantee it.
What about just a classic? Why
classic.
sell yourself short? Why cult?
Well, because cult, you can lie. You can just tell people. They don't know if there's a cult. Sometimes they do that. They're like, this movie became a cult classic. I'm like, is it? But it's a good lie.
Cult classic means there's no evidence.
Exactly. It's a good lie because you're like, I guess there's a cult dedicated to fucking...
Where are they? Well, they're a cult. They're secretive.
Yeah. Dedicated to Beethoven II.
I guess that's true. I guess I could just start saying anything. The Schindler's List sketch was a cult classic.
It is a cult. Big cult.
They
sacrifice Jews and...
But
we made that. Yeah. I've made a few shorts.
You can create and criticize. I've told you this before. You can do both. Peter Bogdanovich, film critic. Paul Schrader, film critic. Every director of the French New Wave were film critics.
It's a good point. By the way, July 25th at Angelica Theater. Get your tickets fast. 6:30 p.m. there's my short film that I starred in called Gut Punch. And then the other one, the Sam Rubinoff one, direct DP'd by, shot by Lex, who's the ones and twos here. Also, right? You're going to the event?
I am going, yes.
Okay.
Well, you
look like you didn't even know.
DP, yeah.
No, I don't know if Civic Duty is going to be done by then.
Oh, really? It's just going to be a movie by Sam Rubinoff?
Well, it might be one of the old ones.
Oh. Never mind. Forget it. I saw his name. I just assumed it was me. This is horse shit.
If we just combine all these short films, we'd have a feature. Because there's you made 3 short films directed by 3 different Jews.
In 3 weeks.
In
well,
3
no,
weeks.
one's not a Jew.
Okay,
his name's Sugimoto.
Wait, Japanese?
I don't know. I think he's half.
Are you making
Mexican,
Japanese films?
I think he's half Mexican, half Japanese.
Are
I don't
you
think we should be talking
samurai
about
in it?
this. I don't know. I don't know what he is, but he's a nice guy. He's a swell guy, and it was a great film.
But 3 short films starring you, we could have done a thing like the 3 Faces of Joe list and make that the movie. You know,
that's a good point.
it could have been. Well, but would have been a feature. It would have been like 30.
Yeah, probably. And then Isabel Hagen has a movie on there. You got to come, July 25th.
What's her movie?
I don't know. It's her is a violist
Oh, okay.
thing.
All right,
I might be in that one too.
Okay.
But anyways, I guess I'm not in this Rubinoff. Some other non-Joe List Rubinoff horse shit that nobody cares about.
But anyway, I directed. You were great. You were fantastic. You just gave me some feedback that was really good.
Yeah, you were okay.
Apparently, I did not set up the right. I had too many people. I'm glad I had too many people in the room when he was getting emotional.
Well, I'll just tell this one story that is hilarious because I think it was cinema history, which Lex hasn't heard this story yet, I don't think. This was cinematic history that I had to point out. First time ever, I'm an actor in the scene. I'm making a phone call, so the camera is where the camera is. I'm here, and the director sat in between the camera and the actor, just hunched down like this, looking at his monitor. Literally, like we're a quarterback and a center. I could have touched the director with his back to me.
So directing. So just to explain, the director has they have these little screens now where it's like a portable.
A monitor, yeah.
Monitor, but you can hold it in your hands.
Yeah, it's existed for about 25 years, but
No, they invented it for my short film. And so it was cramped, the place, and I needed to sit somewhere.
Yeah.
And he was on the couch, the camera's here, and then I'm sitting here with my back to
and I'm
Joe.
here being like, where art thou, Romeo?
But I'm not in the screen. I'm like below the screen.
Yes, just ducking off camera.
And I'm
literally
looking,
like this.
But it was funny, so if you looked, you would see yourself on the screen.
Yeah, I
That
could
was
have done this and seen myself acting.
That was my strategy.
But that one wasn't even the worst. The worst was there's an emotional scene where I'm supposed to cry. Literally, the direction on the script says starts crying.
It says cry like a bitch.
I'm sitting on the couch making a phone call, and Raanan, no joke, just off frame, is laying feet off the ground like this. Literally laying to me. We did one take like that, and I was like, would you mind scooching like this?
This is ruining my mystique as a director. You can't do this shit. You can't say this.
And the DP...
I have no mystique left.
The DP's on his phone scrolling. I'm trying to cry. Then he has a production designer who is wonderful, but just a gorgeous woman. She's standing just off like this, like just kind of watching. And so, there's that. And then there's a sound guy. He's leaning in, looking at me. Raanan's laying on the couch.
Joe has to be like, I abandoned my son. I abandoned my boy.
And I wanted to say, hey, can we clear this? But then you feel I don't want to be a diva. I thought not just the director, but my close
Why
friend
did you
might
say
be.
that? I wish you would have said that.
I know. I wish you would have said it.
I don't know. I'm going off you. I want to make the actor comfortable.
I know, but you don't want. You're in charge. They're all going to resent me. They're going to be like, "What a fucking asshole!" But that was my only critique. Is that it felt like
You can't. Now you ruined my mistake. You don't have this.
you brought it up. I wasn't going to say it.
Joe Pesci isn't like, yeah, fucking filming Goodfellas, and Scorsese's like he's got his back turned and fucking distracting.
You know why? Because Scorsese doesn't do that. But yeah, it was a scene. But I think the film's going to be okay, right? I wasn't thrilled with my performance.
I think it's be great. I'm looking at the rushes. Is that what they call it? The dailies?
The dailies? The daily, I think, is that day.
The one daily. I'm looking at the daily, and it's great. Yeah, I got a lot to work with. Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. I think it'll be. Well, you certainly have a lot to work with. We did 38 takes. Fucking Raanan Kubrick over here.
I Kubricked you on a short film.
We did. I had a line where I said, "Oh, he had a gun, huh?" We did it 37 times. and somehow we went over time.
Yeah, it is funny. They gave me the footage, and the movie is like 10 minutes long, and I think it's about 6 hours of footage.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But, we'll have the short film, then the director's cut, which will be 3 hours long.
It was a 12-and-a-half-hour day, but...
but before we get into the Goodfellas, whatever, fuck, we were talking about
Pacino
Titanic.
versus De Niro.
Yeah,
That's how you sell tickets.
Yeah, that's the title of this, which we'll get to.
I've learned the algorithm. I've learned how to succeed. Now in my 38th year of show business, I'm learning.
But we'll get to it. But we were talking about Titanic. Obviously, that if you're listening now, you know that submersible imploded, most likely.
Gone.
So it's the opposite. I said it exploded. You corrected me. I was actually 100% wrong. Imploded.
As
the
usual,
opposite.
yeah.
And we were talking about Titanic.
Yes.
And we're bringing up a point about the movie Titanic, which is that James Cameron is so fascinated by the Titanic. He's gone there like 400 times. He's visited. He like lived down there for summer. Like he's so into the Titanic. And yet when he made the movie, he thought, well, people clearly can't. It's too boring for people. I'll have to have a guy chasing someone with a gun. It's like an unnecessary conflict in that movie. Why not just have the ship sink? And then you brought up a good point. He did that to make more money than any movie's ever made.
Yeah, he wanted to make money. He made a $1 trillion movie. We're sitting in the basement making short films. Why didn't he make a movie that would have made $2.5 million?
Yeah,
that would have been good.
Highest grossing movie of all time.
But it is. That movie is silly, and Billy Zane is running around shooting a gun, and it's ridiculous. And then they're in love after 4 days.
I want to say, because this is something I thought of the other day. I found the perfect example of something cliched in a movie and something that's actually real, the same topic side by side. And I think this perfectly. Have you ever seen the great movie Gosford Park?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
It's a great movie, one of the best. Altman, he's the best director. So in Titanic, it shows the rich people all bored, and then it cuts to the poor people, and they're all dancing and having fun, and it's just such cliched bullshit, right? And then that's the cliche. And then the reality is Gosford Park, where they show the rich people upstairs eating, and it cuts to the servants downstairs.
Right.
And they're all sitting in the exact hierarchical position of the people they're server to.
Right.
And one of them's like, you actually shouldn't be sitting there because you serve a dude. You should be sitting higher up. They're literally falling into the exact same hierarchy things. And I'm like, that's reality.
Right.
Like you're showing the poor actually be infected by that same thing.
Now, this is a topic, though, so what do you think of the cliche? Do you think who has more fun? This is how you sell tickets. This is how you get the views. Rich versus poor. Who's having more fun?
Well, I will say...
in real life. IRL. By the way, I heard an adult comedian the other day use the term IRL non-ironically.
Oh, people do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or have you heard of this other one? I hate when people go no notes, when they're complaining about something being shitty, and then they sarcastically go, great job, no notes.
No, I never heard that.
I just don't understand comedians who willingly say cliches. It's like, shouldn't your job to be to never say cliches?
Well, you got to take it one day at a time, Raanan.
I forget you follow a religion of cliches. But
rich or poor? Who has more fun?
I mean, life sucks for everyone.
Sure.
The poor definitely seem to well, I think the rich have more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they do.
I mean, like, I'm not to quote DiCaprio. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man.
Wait, that's DiCaprio?
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
in one of his big speeches,
okay.
I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man.
Rich is better.
But yeah, it's like I go to baseball games and have good seats.
Yeah, your life
and I
is
go
better
whenever I want to.
than my life.
I have food delivered to me.
You're not like
every
bored
day.
and then you cut to me in my room and I'm dancing in gym.
right. Yeah, so I'm just like, I don't know.
Of course rich is better.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's better to be rich than poor. But I'm just saying who has more fun. Because you do have like people that go to like the river and they ride down the river or whatever.
It depends what kind of poor. If it's certain ethnicity, they can have a lot of fun. Poor Latinos, they have a real sense of community.
Yes.
Poor people can have, a poor ethnic group can have a sense of community that rich white people don't have. You know what I mean? The Puerto Ricans seem like they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, but also, I mean, we have Irish and stuff. We have people that are they're not fun. What are you, crazy?
Irish?
Yes.
Irish is fun?
Have you ever been to an Irish bar? You haven't. I bet you've never been to an Irish pub once.
It just feels...
Everyone's in there like, I'm proud of all the Irish blood that's
they're like
singing the Wild Rover.
Thinking about like their wife who left them.
No, you sing the Wild Rover and you do the Everyone's going nuts. You know
Well,
what
I
you're
love
talking about.
Irish. You know how you're into Jewish stuff? I'm just as into Irish stuff.
But you think they're not fun.
Well, I don't think the stuff I love is like Joyce and Beckett.
You know
what I mean?
the Pogues?
I love the Pogues.
Come on.
I love the Pogues.
You don't know the Pogues.
I know the Pogues.
All right.
What's their the Christmas song? What's that one?
Fairy Tale of New York?
Yeah. How does that
you
go?
don't know the name, but that's
The
all right.
song I love is about a guy getting raped. It's at the end of My Own Private Idaho. What is that song?
I don't know. I'm not that familiar with that
What's
movie.
that song? I love that song. That's what got me into the Pogues.
Sally McLennan?
No, a guy's getting raped in it.
Guy's getting raped. Dirty Old Town?
Dirty Old Town. Dirty Old Town, I think.
He doesn't get raped, does he? That's not
Can
an
you
original.
play-
That's an old traditional song they cover.
No, maybe it's not Dirty Old Town. Can you just look up what's the last song of My Own Private?
By the Guesswork 5.
My Own Private Idaho.
Dreamed a dream by
think it
the
is that.
old canal. We got to talk about movies.
Oh, well,
this
this
is crazy.
is My Own Private Idaho.
Oh yeah, good point. What's the last song?
What's the
in
last
there?
song?
Pair of Brown Eyes. Band played Waltzing Matilda.
Oh, Waltzing Matilda. Tom
Yeah.
Waits didn't write that?
Well, Waltzing Matilda is the national anthem of Australia.
Wait, really?
I believe so.
That Tom Waits. I mean, I knew Tom Waits did it. I know
No.
that's an old song. That song is beautiful, though.
Yeah, beautiful song.
That's Australia's national anthem?
I think so. Can we get
It's
that?
way
Can we
better
look
than
at
our
that, too?
national anthem. We got
Our
fucking.
national anthem stinks. Hold on, let me look. You talk. You look that up. I'll look
Did
this
you
up.
find it, Lex?
Just give me the soundtrack.
Well, is there a Pogue song on the soundtrack?
Waltzing Matilda.
Go waltzing Matilda with you.
Yeah, the Pogues did that better.
Waltzing
Jesus Christ. Quiet. We gotta lose everybody. Good God song developed in the Australian style. Maybe it's not the national anthem. It's a bush ballad. It's an Australian tune,
All right,
original
we're
lyrics.
losing
Maybe
everyone.
it's
Let's
not
talk
the
about
anthem.
Pacino and De Niro.
I know. We lost. I told you we were losing everybody. Then I
We're
started
losing
Googling
people.
shit.
We crescendoed with me kneeling down. That was the high point.
That
We're
algorithm's
rusty.
gonna-
We haven't done this podcast in a while. We don't.
What time is it? We're 20 minutes in. We haven't got to the topic. 20,
I don't know how we did get more popular.
Make a mark. 20 minutes in is the thing. They want
right.
time sheets.
Let's
or time.
talk. All right, we got to get the algorithm good. All right, hold on. Pacino versus De Niro, and then Lex have it on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have it. Ooh, here we're talking about Pacino versus De Niro.
Now we should do it like we should have planned it and done it like DeRosa and Volcano.
Oh, where they're like fighting
like
over
you
like
pick
hot
a side
sauce.
and we start yelling at each other.
But we're not insane people.
No, they're not insane.
They're a little insane.
I like both of them better than I like you. What is it? What is it?
The old main drag.
The
Old
Man
Man Drag. Yeah,
You play
great
that for a
song.
second? I love that
No,
song.
you can't play it. It's on you. It's
All right, don't
YouTube.
play
What are you
it,
talking
don't play it.
about?
Sorry, I'm rusty, folks.
Yeah, great
There's a
song.
rape in that.
I guess so. Yeah.
I love that song. But anyway,
Yeah, it's about a neighborhood in London, isn't it?
saying I don't know Pogues. I give a deep cut.
Yeah, you couldn't even. It's not even a deep cut. It's on the best of, literally.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah.
Isn't most of their songs are the best of? I don't feel like they have that big of an output, do they?
I guess maybe you're right.
You
But
know,
yeah.
there's some bands where like best of, but it's like, yeah, it's all your. It's like Nick Drake, best of. That's like you have 2 albums.
All right, De Niro versus Pacino, folks. The two great Italian-American actors of all time. They're often compared, they're put together, they're lumped together. Famously, the only time they appeared on screen together before Heat was when they're fading in part 2 from Pacino
right.
and De Niro. There's a brief moment where they're both on screen.
Long Dissolve. That's right.
Long Dissolve.
And now I feel like it was so unique when they were in Heat. Everyone talked. And now I feel like they're just in every fucking movie that comes out now, starring them too.
Are they? What else are they in? Irishman.
Well, the Irishman.
And
I think it's just the Irishman. But there's something else too.
there was something
I feel
else.
like there's some action movies starring both of them.
Maybe.
The novelty's worn off though.
But they both were like two of the great actors, similar training, New York and mob guy,
Mob
70s.
guys.
And then they both kind of went a little bit silly.
Yeah, they both kind of had a similar trajectory where they're both amazing
Yes.
and just so like intensity. I guess that's what they are
Right.
known for. I mean, the intensity of De Niro in Mean Streets and the intensity of Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get. That's like the height of both of them. But then they both kind of they deflated
Yeah.
in different ways. Pacino became, and honestly, I guess ultimately, if I had to choose which one, here's the better question: Which one of the worst older versions do you like more? I think that's more interesting. Do you like old?
That's more interesting than overall who's better. Let's just talk about the movies nobody saw.
Analyze that first.
Right.
Well, I do think Pacino became a caricature, right?
Yes.
He's like crazy and everything.
Yes.
And even I'm rewatching Heat, which I like, even though a lot of holes, but I'm rewatching Heat, and he's just like, well, what's he doing? And that's an interesting movie because De Niro's so good in that.
Right.
And then Pacino's just like in a whole other movie.
I think De Niro stayed great longer. And then his lack of greatness is more film choices. He started doing Rocky and Bullwinkle and analyzed that and like Ronin.
He started doing bad movies.
He started making bad movies. But I do find, we were talking about this before off camera or whatever, I do find a lot of people shitting on De Niro, and I follow all these movie Instagram things, and everybody commonly says this is why Pacino's better. I think more people think Pacino is better than De Niro because Pacino later had some big roles that people think are good. I think so, like Scent of a Woman, which is horrendous performance. He's ridiculous.
He's got a catchphrase.
Silly movie. He's literally driving around in a car. And then I think like Any Given Sunday, people love. What else did he do late?
That was a time, the Scent of a Woman was like back when all those great actors were all just like competing for disabilities. He's blind. De Niro's retarded in this.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin Hoffman is autistic, and they just competed on who can play disabled better. But
early, I think people have forgotten how great De Niro was.
Yes, and honestly, if you really want to see the greatness of De Niro, when you turn on Mean Streets and you're watching that, it's the most sense where you're like, oh, it feels like they just got a crazy person off the street. Like, it's just too real. It's almost like insanely, like you're like,
he's amazing.
It's, you know what it is? It's a different type of acting. With Pacino, he used to be a theatrical actor. He's great at playing these different parts. He's more like Olivier. He's a great actor. But with De Niro, it was a whole new level. Where with De Niro, you're like, oh, those forces are in him. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's the difference. With De Niro, you're like, oh, I believe that for him to portray the guy in Taxi Driver, for him to portray the Johnny in Mean Streets, I believe he has those forces and he's brought them up. And it's almost a little scary. With Pacino, you don't feel like he's great. I do think Godfather 2 is one of the great performances.
Yes.
But it's a Shakespearean performance of someone whose soul is frozen, but I don't see him bringing up like, I'm not concerned for him as a person.
Interesting.
De Niro,
huge laugh at his own line.
De Niro's like a psychopath. I'm like, is that guy a psychopath?
Yeah, the early De Niro is amazing, but I do think, and we've talked about this before, I like to do a debate cross-country style scoring, the sport cross-country.
Okay.
Where low score wins. I've explained this before. So it's like you take, the way a cross-country race, you have two teams, and whoever comes in first place gets 1 point. Whoever comes in second place gets 2 points. So you add up, the best score you can have in a cross-country race is 15. You come in first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Okay.
5 plus 4 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So you go by performances. The best performances of the two. They each represent cross-country runners.
Doing it, I'll understand. I can't.
So, like, what's the best performance of the two of them? Who has the best performance? Like, I think Dog Day Afternoon and Raging Bull are the two best performances from each of them. Which one is better? Better performance, Raging Bull or Dog Day Afternoon?
It's a tough one.
Because Raging Bull, you have the weight loss, you have the intensity. He's muscular, he's fat, he's an alcoholic, he's amazing.
I guess that's the thing with De Niro. It's kind of the difference. Like the same thing I said about forces that are in him. With Raging Bull, he actually got fat.
Right.
So you're like, oh, this guy's actually torturing himself in real life. But one could say it's a little distracting, you know?
How is it distracting?
Well, it's a little bit of a cheat, you know what I mean? He actually is panting heavily, you know?
A cheat?
Well, like he's, or it's too real for acting. You know what I mean?
I guess, but he is the person. I mean, isn't that the best acting you can have?
I don't think Raging.
He's amazing. It's an amazing
It is
performance.
an amazing
I would argue.
performance.
I actually truly believe those are my two favorite and two of the best performances ever. Because Dog Day Afternoon, he had like a nervous breakdown. He's amazing.
I mean, that's
the way his
crazy, yeah.
eyes. It was a big influence on my performance in 4th of July.
saw it,
It's just his eyes jetting around at the Attica scene, the sadness. I mean, and not easy for him to play a guy who's like closetedly gay.
Look,
Essentially,
Sidney
he loves
Lumet
both
said,
of them.
Said that Lumet said that conversation on the phone with them too is the greatest acting he's ever filmed. Basically,
He's incredible. I mean, it's the best performance. I'm gonna give. So you have to choose one. Give me Raging Bull, Dog Day Afternoon. Unless you don't think those are their best performances. Maybe you think Godfather 2 is better.
I don't know if I do. Yeah.
Who's better in The Godfather 2, De Niro or Pacino?
I think that's Pacino's great performance. I think
so too.
I think Pacino in that, even though he's amazing in Dog Day. See, that's the thing about acting. It's like I also resonate more with the character that I'm more connected to. Like,
Right,
I
you're
guess
one
I
of
just
these
think
guys.
Godfather 2 is just a better movie, and like Pacino captures, in Godfather 2, he captures something that's like so universal, where your soul has frozen over. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so like,
I don't really know that feeling, but yeah.
so like, I would put Godfather 2 over Dog Day.
Over any De Niro performance also? So Bill, you have a pen and paper over there, or a phone, right? Or a phone, because we'll both do our own cross country score. So okay, so what do you think is the best performance between the two of them? Godfather 2,
Godfather
Pacino?
2, Pacino for sure.
For sure.
I'd say for sure.
All right, so put down Raanan, Pacino 1.
I mean, it's hard to say that the best performance wouldn't be in the movie that's like the greatest movie of all time. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Yeah. And I love Dog Day, but it's no Godfather 2.
My favorite performance of the two guys, Raging Bull. But so put down Joe De Niro 1.
I'd say De Niro's best performance. I don't know.
Mean Streets?
I might go with Taxi Driver.
Really?
I feel like you see his pain in Taxi Driver so much.
Now, is that better than any other Pacino performance? Because it's what's performance is second place for you? Is it De Niro Taxi Driver? Because that puts the score at 1-2.
I don't understand the scoring system at all.
What's the second best performance?
By
Pacino or De Niro? We're ranking the
Pacino's
best
second best
performances.
performance is Dog Day.
No, but is that better than any De Niro performance? Does he have the
No.
two best performances?
No.
Okay.
For De Niro, it goes Taxi Driver 1, Raging Bull 2.
Right, but do
Mean
both
Streets
at the
3.
same time.
Okay. Okay, so that.
Are you
and
understanding the concept?
Then, and then Pacino, I don't understand it.
All right, rank the best performances of both these people.
All right, so Pacino is Godfather 2, 1, and then it's Dog Day 2, and then 3, it's...
You're still not understanding.
I don't understand.
Combine them all in a bag. De Niro and Pacino. Rank the best performances.
Okay, so...
Using both of them.
Okay. So De Niro is number 1, Taxi Driver. Pacino, right?
De Niro's number 1?
No, that's just his best
No,
performance.
I'm saying overall. Overall, counting both performances. Like for me, to me, here's mine. Not the best performance of either of these actors is Raging Bull, Robert De Niro. He's got 1 point. The second best performance of either of these actors, Dog Day Afternoon.
I didn't realize it until right now, but I'm going with Pacino, Godfather 2.
You're saying that's the best performance? Yeah. Okay. We've established that.
I do think that. I think Pacino gives the best.
What is the
How can it
second
not
best
be?
performance between the two of them?
Oh
my God.
Pacino and Devil's Advocate.
You're not getting the concept.
No, De Niro and Taxi Driver.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means Pacino has 1 point.
I
and De
see.
Niro has 2 points.
Now I get it.
Now someone's about to add 3
Like
points to their score.
like the Monty
What's
Python
the
haircut.
third best performance?
The third best performance.
This is how we figure it out.
Is De Niro in Raging Bull.
Okay, so now De Niro has 5, so it's 1-5.
Yeah.
But we have to get 5 performances from each.
Right.
You see?
Right. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So basically, how about that? Maybe you'll
just tell
understand
me
this
what
better.
to do. Just tell me what to do.
I've been telling you what to do.
Don't explain the big thing. Just tell me what to say next.
Give me the top 10 performances by them, including 5 from each. You need the top 5 De Niro, top 5 Pacino, but then shuffle them into order.
Okay. So do it in ranking of all. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right.
There you go.
Pacino
Now we got
first,
it.
Godfather 2.
Got it. You got that?
De Niro, Taxi Driver.
Okay.
De Niro, Raging Bull.
Okay. So that's 1 to 5.
Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon.
All right. What place are we at now? How many is that? Okay. So Pacino just got 4 points. So now it's 5 to 5.
Yeah,
This is a
okay.
dead heat. You see? You're understanding?
I see, yeah. De Niro, Mean Streets.
Okay.
What are the other Pacino performances?
Godfather 1.
I think I might go with that next. Pacino, Godfather 1.
Yeah.
Pacino, Godfather 1. And that's it. What else is
Well,
there?
there's Serpico. There's Cruisin'. There's Heat. There's
do-
The Irishman. You love The Irishman.
Yeah, I'd go De Niro Irishman after that.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. If this decided, De Niro's better than Pacino in The Irishman.
Yes. Agreed.
So De Niro's better.
So it feels like you're De Niro.
Pacino has like 3 great performances.
Yeah. That's the problem. That's why the cross-country style is so compelling.
But
But he only has 4 De Niros. That's only one more.
yeah, so we
that's
need
the
another
thing.
De Niro.
Well, that's what it is. Pacino, it's kind of similar to Coppola and Scorsese if you think about it. Scorsese has so many more better movies,
Right.
but then Coppola has the best movie.
Right.
That's it's literally the Scorsese Coppola versus is the same as De Niro, which makes sense.
It's very similar.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
So Pacino, his performance in Godfather 2 is the best, and then Scorsese has all the other better movies.
Well, that's why I like this scoring system. Basically, the scoring system is so interesting to me because it's like if you're ranking the best performances, like Godfather 1, Godfather 2, Dog Day are all maybe in the top 5.
Yeah.
But then it just goes De Niro, De Niro, De Niro, De Niro, De Niro.
Because it's all
which,
Scorsese.
Again, not to go back to the sport of cross country, but it's like that's what's so interesting about it is like you can have the 2 best runner, the 2 best performances,
Yeah.
as the analogy goes, and you got first and second. You're like, we're first and second. But then the next team comes in and goes third, fourth,
What?
fifth, sixth, seventh.
Exactly. And it's the same. De Niro's more consistent, but Pacino has the best performance.
De Niro was amazing for longer. And then his relationship with Scorsese, he's working with the best director.
I know, that's the thing.
If
If
Pacino was in
Coppola-
more Scorsese movies,
Or if Coppola was more consistent, Pacino would have been more consistent.
or Coppola for that matter. but
Coppola.
if Pacino in Godfather 1, Godfather 2, and Dog Day are so incredible. And it's easy for me to forget that this man was once even great because he became so big and crazy. That's a great ass. You're like,
Yeah.
what is that
But I will
line
say-
delivery? How did they not go, okay, let's just take that again? Same with, they pulled me back in.
Yeah. Well, it's also weird how Michael Corleone just becomes Pacino. Like, he
Right.
just becomes old Pacino. But the thing is, De Niro's not great in the later movies either. Like, I mean, he's better in Heat. But, like, De Niro the problem is De Niro, okay, Pacino just became over the top, right?
Yes.
And then he just became a character. Jack Nicholson kind of became similar in a way. They just both became big, like...
Yes,
they
that's
just-
true.
They became over the top. De Niro went another way. De Niro started doing comedies. And the problem with that is that De Niro loves comedy, right? He loves stand-up. He loves comedy. And then he really wanted to be a comedic actor. But the problem is when he was a comedic
That's going to bother people,
the problem is,
including me.
when he was, yeah, which people? The problem is, when he's doing comedic roles, he's trying to be funny. He's not. He should be playing it the same way he plays everything else.
Right.
But you see a difference when he's in Analyze This. You see a difference when he's in Meet the Parents. He's playing it funny, and that really ruins him comedically. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's his fault as a later actor, him trying to be funny.
But I think also it's just you run out of the energy. That's why music is so good because it's like you can just replay the great songs you have.
Yeah.
You can just play them live. Like Springsteen. Oh, Springsteen's still making great music, but the Stones haven't really made a great album in 40 years.
Right.
But you go see them and you're like, this rules.
You're reminded.
Yeah, and they're still playing it great.
They're still there playing it. Right. That's a good point.
But De Niro, I think it just gets difficult to put that kind of effort into a film. Because De Niro, we haven't even brought up King of Comedy. He's amazing.
he's amazing, yeah.
Goodfellas, he's amazing. Cape Fear, he's amazing.
Right.
I'm sure there's others that we're forgetting.
Well, I've always said this about actors. A part of being a great actor is making good choices.
Of course.
And he's just made better choices.
Yes, and because he worked with Scorsese, who I really think is the director that gets the best performances out of people.
Yeah.
With the improvisation and obviously he chooses great scripts, but he just gets such amazing performances. Because De Niro, we talked about this before, in Goodfellas is pitch perfect and amazing. And you don't even think of it as one of the great performances. He's just kind of there.
It's weird because it's a understated performance. It gets, obviously overshadowed by Pesci, but in a way, it's the most honest depiction of a mobster is De Niro in Goodfellas. Not that charming, just a complete thug.
Right.
And really just like not that interesting, which I think is kind of like probably most of the accurate depiction of a mobster. You know what I mean?
He's very interesting.
He's interesting,
to
but
me,
he doesn't have like the gift of gab.
Yeah.
Like
but,
in reality, no mobster would be as funny as Joe Pesci.
right.
And no mobster probably has
I'm sure there's funny mobsters.
has some of the moral backbone that Ray Liotta has, or the moral conflict a little, And by moral conflict, I mean him just giving a uncomfortable look when Joe Pesci says, "Sorry, I got blood on your floor."
Right.
But
He says, I didn't want to get blood on your floor.
But De Niro is, I think, a perfect depiction of just like a fucking, just like a vicious guy.
He's great, and we were talking about this before. I just watched it again last night, and I've never seen a film where they just feel so much like those characters. They improvise a lot, they rehearsed a lot, but when they're about to whack Maury, and they're playing cards at the table, and Pesci's telling that story, and he's like, I couldn't even look at him, and he's elbowing him, and he's like, Jimmy was there, Jimmy was looking at me. It really feels like he is Jimmy, and he is Tommy. It feels like these are these people. It feels like who are these people? It feels like they've known each other for 30 years.
It feels real, and like what I brought up too earlier is the most real moment out of all this shit is when they say goodbye to each other at the diner.
I'll see you later.
You never see anyone say goodbye to each other at the end of a long night.
Right.
And you just you hear them both say, "See you later" at the same time, and then show them both get into their cars.
Right.
It's just like a real moment that you don't ever really see in anything. You know what I mean?
They're all laughing.
Yeah.
There's no other movie where everyone's laughing at funny shit.
Yes.
Like you watch like fucking Dumb and Dumber, you're like, how are they not on the floor laughing at this?
Or
But
the opposite, which is always there, where you have people laughing at something not funny, just to create a false sense of rapport. You have a bunch of guys who's like, "Oh, is that your kid? Thank God he got his mother's looks," and they all laugh like he's fucking Henny Youngman or something.
Right.
They die laughing like and then they're like, oh, they have camaraderie because they all
Yeah, one of the worst versions is the movie 13 Hours about Benghazi.
Yeah,
which is a great book, fantastic book. Those guys are real heroes, tremendous book. But anyways, I went to saw the movie, and they try to. This happens a lot in war movies. They try to show, and they're like, "Well, you're bad at video games."
The fake,
It's just like, what? But Goodfellas pulls it off so well. These feel like friends. They feel like family. It's why it's so rewatchable, because you feel like you're part of it.
There's something else that does it, but we'll leave that people laugh at something that's really funny.
What?
There's another thing that does that.
What do you mean?
Sopranos. But that's for another time, another discussion. But Sopranos, they do laugh at funny shit.
Right.
And you see them hanging out.
At the sitcom jokes that they wrote into the show and whatever. But anyways.
No one's ever been more wrong.
Well, we've all treaded on this, whatever, it doesn't matter. But what was the other fucking thing I was going to say about Johnny Rose? Oh, the great moment in Goodfellas that I feel like doesn't get talked about, that I think is such a crucial, beautiful moment that everyone should go back and watch, because you were like, I don't even know what you're talking about. There's two. But the sentencing, there's these great subtle things that Henry just doesn't belong in this situation. I mean, another one, of course, is when they're killing Billy Batts and he looks so concerned and he's worried. The whole crew's going to be looking for him. This is bad. In the moment, they're like, shut up. What do you care? But when they get sentenced, they both get pinched, De Niro and Henry Hill Liotta in Tampa. And they get sentenced to 10 years. Judge gave us 10 years like he was giving away candy. And De Niro, as he gets sentenced, doesn't break his look. He's just ice cold, staring at the judge. And Henry immediately looks at Jimmy and then looks back at his wife, and you can see him panicked.
Well, it shows you he's has the potential to be a rat.
Yeah, and he's like, I can't do this. This is crazy. And De Niro's completely unfazed. And the other great one, after they whack Maury, that scene you're talking about when they're coming out of the diner, and Henry Hill genuinely goes, what should I tell Belle?
Yeah.
And De Niro goes, tell her she ran off. What do you give a fuck? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not even like, he can't. This is his friend. Like, they go on dinner dates with these people. This guy is living in his house.
It is interesting when you have a character in a movie, like, think the other character would care.
Yeah.
And the other kids was like, I don't give a shit. I just saw that. You ever see Shortcuts? Altman movie?
Yeah.
Great movie. There's a part where the daughter tells his mother, who's like this alcoholic lounge singer, that the kid next door died in a car accident.
Right.
And the daughter's really upset. She tells the mother, and she's like, man, that mom must feel like shit. Well, anyway. And then she just walks away.
Right. Yeah, it's a fun moment. We've all had that moment where you're like, but we're usually good at faking it because we're not sociopaths.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
like,
you
oh my
gotta
God, I
fake
can't
And it's
believe
stuff
it.
where you're like, you just find out your friend just doesn't care about lives.
Right.
And then you just move on.
Yeah. But De Niro is great. But Pacino, I don't want to fuck Pacino over because Dog Day
We're
and
going
the
to
two
meet Pacino right after we
Godfathers.
get there. We're going to go outside, and Pacino's going to be right there.
He's going to be like, whoa,
Hoo-ha! I hear you're doing a podcast about me being over the top. Hey, that's...
But he is good in Irishman.
He's good at Irishman.
It's very big.
Well, the thing about Heat is that I don't understand, like, as a cop, you have strategy. And it seems like him being an insane person is not the best strategy. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like him, like, talking to that guy who's trying to get to be an informant, and he goes, that's what your mama said, or whatever he says to him.
Right.
It's like, it seems like he'd scare away people. It just seems like, as a cop, and you're trying to get people on your side to, like, investigate stuff,
Right.
maybe you don't just be like, because she's got a great ass.
Right.
Now wear this wire. Like, it's just
Right.
like...
Yeah, he's very big. He's very yelly.
You think like Pacino just started doing that, and Michael Mann was like, I can't tell Pacino to tone it down.
I think that happens a lot. I think you get a
Yeah.
huge actor and you're like, I can't. They're legends. I think probably Nicholson like that and The Departed too. Like there's certain. You're
I
like,
think that
well,
performance is great. That whole movie's over the
we
top.
got these people. No, you're out of your mind.
But I,
That's so weird that you have. We talked about this throughout the podcast.
I really like Departed.
I love The Departed, but you don't think Nicholson is over the top? You're saying it's like purposely tongue in cheek or
Perfect
something.
over the top though. Like Heat,
He's like,
but I think it's but that
and his
movie-
accent kind of comes
that
and
movie's
goes.
so over the top.
But it's not purposefully over the top. It's
The
not like they're
plot
like, we're
is-
going to make an over the top
Plot's
movie.
but the plot's not real. The bad guys don't kill the fucking chief of police. Like they don't throw him out. It's not gangs. You don't like kill the
He's
chief
not the,
of police.
he's not the chief of police.
Or whatever he is. It's like an overly metaphorical movie. It's like a comic book with real feelings, but like
I mean,
a
do you
ridiculous
really
plot.
think that's what they're going for? They're
Yeah.
actively going for that?
I think it's like a comedy. I mean, it's like an over-the-top movie.
Come on, there's no way. It's supposed to feel real.
I don't think
What do you
so.
mean? Like they don't kill I mean, The Godfather.
Well,
They
even the-
literally shoot the captain of the police department.
Even-
Same thing. They both films the mob kills the captain. Does that feel over the top?
Well, that
in
was
The
a different
Godfather?
time. It wasn't the
Oh, okay.
it was the 50s. You can do that.
Captain McCluskey. That's his name.
Well, the guy goes into
You
hiding.
can't shoot a police captain. Yeah, well,
Good
these
point.
guys are low ranking.
Yeah, but they just like shooting the police captain in that thing is because like he's literally corrupt and trying to like take down the thing. They
Right.
just kill him because they see him.
And they do also cut to the
They're
thug.
just like he's still there, so they're like, all right, we'll throw him over the garage.
And they cut to them going, we should have roughed them up. That cop was tough. They feel bad or whatever.
I what do you think, Lex? I think it's a great movie. I think it knows it's ridiculous.
But I think it doesn't know. I think it's ridiculous,
The
which
giant
takes
rat
away.
at the end.
But I don't. That's totally ridiculous. But I don't think it's supposed to be. I think Scorsese's older, and I think he made a good film. But I don't think he was like, check it out. This is silly and over the top and wacky.
But it's like so many jokes the whole time. Like actual.
Like what? But they're not jokes like fucking like Naked Gun, where he's like looking and use the open eye, Frank, and he's like,
It's,
you know what I mean?
it's somewhere in between that and it's somewhere in between Naked Gun and Goodfellas. But even the violence is so like.
I mean, it's somewhere in between, but it's much closer to Goodfellas.
Well, I think to me it's like so overly metaphorical that like Pacino's clearly just like the devil and Martin.
Pacino? He's not even in this film.
Jack Nicholson and then Martin Sheen is like the like the angel on his shoulder. I don't know, and it's just about identity. I don't know. To me, it's like clearly there's a difference between that and Goodfellas.
But you are like the only person I've ever heard say it's over the top. Like you think this, but I don't think anyone else thinks like, yeah, of course they made an over the top, goofy, silly
Really?
movie. Yeah, it won Best Picture.
yeah, but that was like a Lifetime Achievement Award.
I mean, to some degree, but like it did win Best Picture. It's
I guess that's how I see it. I don't know. To me, it's like everything in it's like kind of like a funny joke.
It's funny because I'm like, I think you're misinterpreting it and thinking it's better than it is.
Well, I think
because
there's real emotion in it.
Yes.
About like not like like about losing your identity and like having like a different father figures and like losing your sense of who you are, and betrayal.
Right.
It's and the toll of betrayal.
According to you, this is the only farce where a main character is addicted to opioids.
He's not addicted to opiates
or painkillers, whatever he's on.
Xanax.
Yeah, I get okay.
I don't know. I think after Casino, De Niro definitely Scorsese definitely, his aesthetic changed. It didn't have that same real feeling anymore. You know what I mean? Irishman, even though it's more real, still has a very, like, stylized feel to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the guns in the water where you see all the other guns. There's a certain kind of stylization to it.
Yeah. It's just not as good, also. I think he's just an older artist who's not as sharp.
Don't get me started on The Irishman. I love The Irishman.
I know. That was the first thing we ever talked about on this show.
But
and I think we talked about it 10 times.
But I do think, like, Pacino is just, like, either way, I think Jack Nicholson in that, I think it works. I think Pacino and Heat, and I get what they're doing. Like, De Niro's so reserved. They want to make Pacino the opposite.
Yeah.
But he's so crazy. I'm like, I just think it goes against what a cop would be wanting to do.
So I get distracted because all I can think is if you ask Martin Scorsese, hey, so The Departed's like a big farcy goofball.
Not far,
I think
but
he'd
like
be
over the
what?
top. Like deliberately over the top.
What? Give me some other examples of deliberately over the top.
It's a cop. It's a cop undercover as like a bad guy, and then the bad guy's undercover as a cop. Like, already, that's like it's not a realistic concept. The
What?
same way Goodfellas
Of course
is.
it is.
Like Goodfellas is a realistic concept.
But it's literally realistic. I mean, like this happened in the Boston mob.
Not like that.
Like Whitey Bulger was an FBI informant,
Yes.
just like Costello.
But not like one cop.
and there's
was,
crooked cops. His brother was like the senator
Right, but it wasn't like
or whatever he was.
it wasn't like a criminal rode through the police department from a young age. He got indoctrinated and then became a cop. Like that didn't happen. You see what I'm saying?
But that's totally happened. There's hugely corrupt police.
They get corrupt, but you don't have like literally a henchman for a mobster at a young age, like going through the police force for him. You know?
You think that's never happened ever?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to look into this. I mean, Lex, you know the mob. I mean, I'm sure there are.
Were you in the mob or something, or no? You're a criminal or something?
Yeah, he's a made man. He took a blood oath. He's he's from the Sicilian faction of the Adams.
This is a good room. This is a good room where like you think you're getting like in Goodfellas. This is a good like you go in and you realize you're getting killed. So why didn't you realize that right away? Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
Because it's supposed to be a celebration. Yeah, it's supposed to be a fucking what do you call that? When you have a
Party?
thing, a ceremony. It's supposed to be a ceremony.
But what if like maybe the people are just in the other room?
They're just late.
Yeah, and he's just going, "Oh no!" And
Yeah.
then they're like, "What?"
Well, he knows. He's been around. He has a feeling. Yeah.
Oh, he has the feeling.
Which supposedly in real life, Gotti was the one that killed Tommy DeSimone.
Really?
That's what I heard of. You've heard that too.
Okay.
And Scorsese's dad has the line, and that's that.
That's
Scorsese's
Oh,
dad.
that's his
Charlie.
dad?
Charlie Scorsese. Yeah. Yeah. Both parents in there. Both fantastic.
That's that.
Yeah.
Mobsters have such a funny morality. I think that's why we're interested in them. Like they're murderers. First of all, they're all Catholic, which is hilarious because like I feel like Catholicism has something to say about murder.
I guess so. Another great moment, by the way, with two Irish guys trying to and mobsters trying to show emotion and embrace the fact that Henry can't even touch Jimmy and Jimmy
Right.
trying to he can't.
And then-
he's just like what? And he's like kind of crying, but he's clearly not crying, and Henry just can't even like. It's so it's almost comedic. These two meatheads just kind of like
Wait a minute, I just realized something.
what?
Can De Niro not cry? Is he like
No,
an
I think he can
actor?
cry. He cries in Raging Bull.
He does? I
Yeah,
feel
of
like
course,
it's
he's
always
punching the
like
wall.
It's like always fake cry. You're like, oh.
I guess
I think he can't cry.
that's
I
maybe.
think that's what you're talking about, Goodfellas. That's just him not being able to cry. He's like,
Yeah, he covers
oh.
I thought that too. When you watch Henry, he covers his face. He's like, "Oh, why did you do that?"
I don't
I'm
think
like, I
they
think
can
he's just
cry.
covering his face. Yeah,
They
that's
can't
a
cry.
good move as an actor. Is you cover your face if you can't cry.
I just don't think only certain actors
I
can
think
cry.
De Niro can cry.
I don't think so. What's
No,
he
I think
crying?
he can cry.
He cries a little in Irishman when he's on the phone with the. But not even really. He's
He
not a
cries
crier.
in Goodfellas.
Pacino's a crier.
He cries in Goodfellas. He cries in Raging Bull.
You know, who's a crier is Penn. That man can cry.
Patton?
Sean Penn.
Oh, Sean Penn.
You seen Mystic River?
Yes, I've seen Mystic River. I don't care for Mystic River.
Crying every 12 seconds.
What else does De Niro cry in? Awakenings, he probably cries. I don't know.
if he cries in Awakenings. He's not. Analyze This is like famously fake
What was
crying.
the one you just said?
De Niro. This is just a list.
What was the third one he cried in? You named
Deer Hunter.
The Deer Hunter. Oh, yeah, Deer Hunter. He's big cry. Another amazing performance.
De Niro cries the way my grandpa made fun of me when I cried. He'd be like, oh.
What can I do? What can I do? You can act like a man.
Yeah.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Untouchable. Oh, yeah. He's not good in Untouchables.
What does he cry in Untouchables?
Untouchables is like a
Beats the guy to
pretty
death with a bat?
embarrassing performance, honestly, when you rewatch it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's cartoonish.
Well, you know, it's also
that movie's
cartoonish.
over the top and purposefully so.
You know, it's also cartoonish, which I loved. I thought it was the most scary performance ever, and then I saw it again recently in Cape Fear. It's pretty over the top.
It's over the top, but it's also like a remake. It's big,
Yeah.
but it's fun. He's like, I am like God and God like I. But Untouchables is fun stylistically, but it's tough. I mean, De Niro as
Right.
Capone is like really goofballs, and he's like beating out of the back.
But the other problem is Pacino,
Teamwork.
which I don't think I was the one who said this, or maybe we said this on a podcast. He's the one actor who develops in later life a Southern accent. He has like a Southern twang.
Niro?
Pacino.
Oh, Pacino.
Every movie's like, how's it going? Like it's like it's like
Interesting.
Southern.
Springseen's like that too. It's
Yeah.
funny. He's kind of like got more Southwest motifs, and he sounds like kind of country.
Yeah,
and he has like, you listen to early Springsteen interviews. He has like a thick Jersey accent.
Oh yeah.
He's like, no, you should be an author. You should write books. And now you talk to him, he's kind of like, well, we came down here.
Yeah, same thing with fucking Dylan. I mean, Dylan's a Jew. Dylan's the least Jewish Jew to ever Jew.
Yeah, well, he's a Jew from Minnesota. I guess the
Still,
Coens are too.
You talk
but-
to him now, he's like become America.
Right.
He's like, I thought you talked to him now. Yeah, when you talk
Every time
to
I talk to Bob Dylan,
he's like, the
you sound
Civil
like
War.
one of the sisters from The Simpsons, or Krusty.
I guess.
gotta wrap
all
up,
right,
for God's
Pacino, De Niro's better, but Pacino gave the best performance, much like Coppola and Scorsese.
Yes, very similar.
Because it also goes into the question of who's better. Scorsese's made a lot better films, but Coppola made the best film.
Scorsese is 5,000 times better than
I mean,
Coppola.
5,000's a lot.
I mean, like,
Godfather 1, Godfather 2 is like American movies.
it's
We're all under
amazing,
the
but like
shadow of the-
Goodfellas is just as good.
No.
It's incredible. Worse is a weird way to use. It's very different.
Goodfellas is the most entertaining movie of all time, but it never reaches.
What a big knock on Goodfellas.
Wait, what? Good? No, that's what I'm saying about Goodfellas.
I know, but I'm
Oh.
saying you're acting like it's like a criticism.
No, I'm not. Well, it is a little because it's so entertaining that it doesn't always hit you after. Like nothing in Goodfellas hits you the way Fredo getting killed hits you.
No, they're different
Yeah.
films, of course, different kinds of film. But
Well, the characters have no humanity in Goodfellas to begin with.
But again, if you do my cross country style, even if you give it,
Yes, of course. According to
Even if you give it-
Rain Man ranking,
even if you give it The Godfather, Godfather 2, even if you put Apocalypse Now in third place,
which you could, except I don't really. Like
it's
that.
ridiculous. But yeah, even if you did, you're still gonna name 9 Scorsese movies next.
Yeah.
Before you get to Rumblefish. I mean, the conversation is good. But Coppola is so disappointing to me because first of all, every interview, he's my favorite guy to listen to talk about
he's
film.
very
I saw him live and it like changed my life. It was so compelling. But he made 3 really great films and a lot of very experimental, very weird. I mean, Scorsese, you have like
Yeah, of
No
course,
Direction Home is one of the best fucking movies
Also, I mean,
ever. Speaking of
Scorsese
Dylan.
recently made, in my opinion, a masterpiece, The Irishman, and Coppola's last movie was like John Grisham's The Rainmaker or some shit.
Right. But
No, Coppola, yeah. I mean, Scorsese doesn't have a version of Jack.
and like Mean Streets is amazing. Taxi Driver is amazing. King of Comedy is amazing. After Hours, the posters over there, is amazing.
I say Scorsese is one of the most consistent
Goodfellas is
directors.
perfect. Raging Bull, I didn't even mention Raging Bull, which is probably his
Has
best
Scorsese
movie.
made a bad movie? Like, actually bad?
We talked about this before, I think, on here.
But has he? I mean, he's
Actually,
made movies that
bad,
aren't great.
bad. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street also is fantastic.
Yeah. What's a bad? I mean, I haven't seen...
Like couldn't done.
I haven't seen
well,
it.
the
People
one,
say that's great. I don't know.
the one, the Adam Driver, I had a hard time with.
That was tough, but it still
religious,
wasn't. It still
but I
was,
don't think it was a bad movie.
It was still
certainly.
ambitious and trying to be. You know what I mean? It was still interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think he can make a bad movie. I think he puts too much heart into it.
Yeah.
Like Spielberg can make a bad movie.
He's made many bad films.
Spielberg
yeah.
can make a movie where you watch it and go, this director has no talent whatsoever. If you just saw that movie, you know what I mean?
Right.
If I just saw Ready Player One, I'd be like, what hack
Or
made
Bridge of
this?
Spies.
Yeah, what hack made this movie? You know what I mean? Spielberg can make some bad movies. Coppola can make some bad movies. Scorsese and the Coen brothers can't really make a terrible movie.
And another thing about Scorsese, you watch it, you're like, oh, this is a Scorsese movie.
Yeah.
It looks and feels like a Scorsese movie, the editing, the style.
When you watch John Grisham's The Rainmaker, you don't go, this is a Coppola
Right.
movie.
All right, we got to put a bow on this
All
thing.
right,
We're
let's
at
put
an
a bow.
hour.
Well,
I got
let's
Karen
do a
Fian coming
plug.
over.
Let's do some plugs.
Do some plugs, for God's
When's this
sake.
coming out? 2 years? Or
Tomorrow?
what?
Monday? I don't know. What's Lex?
Well,
Yeah.
go to my website. I'm all over the road, RaananHirschberg.com. Go to my website, subscribe to my mailing list, please, so I can have, so you don't miss shows. It's on my website, RaananHirschberg.com, RAANAN, Hirschberg.com. I'll just spell that out too, HERSHBERG. And yeah.
It's in the notes.
And if you're in Newark, Monday, I'm taping a half hour.
They're
in
right
Newark.
there. You're shouting at them.
I'm sorry. Come to Newark Monday. I'm taping a half hour. It's free. Tickets are free. That's how hard to get in it is.
Well, it's a great city.
Yeah.
See all the sites before
You can see
go.
where like mobsters got killed in an alley or something.
You can see where you're about to get killed.
Is it dangerous? People are telling me it's dangerous there.
Of course, it's dangerous. It's
Am I going to
Newark.
get killed?
Well, not if you're at the airport or the
So anyway, if you're at the
Devil's game.
airport and you get delayed, go over to my special taping. It's on my website, RaananHirschberg.com. Go Monday night. I'm doing a half hour, mostly old. I'll throw in some new. It's gonna be great though.
Hey, we're back. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. The comments are going to be blowing up. Get that algorithm going. Share it up, subscribe, and a new special August 18th.
Oh, you got a date. Nice. Great.
Yeah.
I saw it live. It's great.
Thank you. ComedianJoeList.com. And I'm coming up in Irvine, California, July 13th to the 15th, and San Jose Improv the weekend after that. And a bunch of dates coming up. Philly, Nashville, Providence, Comedian Joe List. And sign up for my email list.
Yeah.
And subscribe to our YouTubes. That's very important.
And yeah. All right.
There
Cut.
you go.
Joe likes Scorsese, and Raanan is Jewy. It's Joe and Raanan talk movies.